When a government finally starts putting price tags on its secrets, you learn a lot about how the system really works. For decades, U.S. immigration pretended everyone was in the same line. Then, one afternoon at the White House, Donald Trump walked up to the podium and said the quiet part out loud: if you wire enough money to Washington, you don't stand in line, you get a new door. They call it the Trump Gold Card. The marketing sounds simple: a direct path to us, citizenship for qualified, vetted people, launched with all caps posts and promises that our great American companies can finally keep their invaluable talent. The reality is simpler still. For a $15 fee and a $1 million gift to the government, you buy yourself time, certainty, and a shortcut in a system built on delay. The structure is the real story. On the surface, the Gold Card does not invent a new kind of American. It sits on top of categories that already exist: EB-1 for extraordinary ability, EP-2 for advanced degrees and exceptional skill. The website says very clearly you must still be eligible for lawful permanent residence, admissible under U.S. law, and there must be a visa number available. What changes is not the law underneath, it's the price of speed. The government tells you to go to Trump Card. Gov, create an account and pay a non-refundable $15 processing fee to DHS. That buys you a serious look at your file. Agencies run their background checks, criminal record, sanctions lists, security databases, source of funds. If nothing ugly appears, you get the real invoice, a $1 million contribution to the U.S. Treasury, politely described as a gift in exchange for residency processed in record time. For companies, the menu is a little different and a lot more expensive. They do not just pay filing fees, they buy a slot. Under the Trump corporate Gold Card, a firm can sponsor a foreign worker by paying the same $15 DHS fee per employee, plus a $2 million gift for that worker after vetting. The rules are written to keep the relationship going. If that employee quits or is fired, the company can reuse the same $2 million contribution for a replacement hire without paying again. In some descriptions, there is a 1% annual maintenance fee on the gift and a 5% fee every time they transfer the sponsorship from one person to another. You don't need a PhD in finance to see the pattern. This is not about stamps and a passport for one person. It is about creating a recurring revenue stream between the government and the companies that can afford to treat visas like long-term subscriptions. Family is where the numbers turn from headline to shock. The Gold Card is sold as a path for qualified individuals, but the fine print allows you to add your spouse and unmarried children under 21 to your application. None of them ride for free. Each family member triggers another $15 processing fee and another $1 million gift. A single applicant pays $15 plus $1 million. A couple with 2 children is suddenly looking at $60 in processing fees and $4 million in contributions before a single State Department visa fee or medical bill. That is not a typo. It is the business model. The Gold Card is not priced per person. It is priced per each household of people rich enough to treat these numbers as just another wealth planning decision. What do you get after all that wiring and paperwork? The same thing millions of people have chased through normal routes: lawful permanent residence in the United States with the right to live and work anywhere, sponsor certain family, and after enough years on the ground, apply for U.S. citizenship. The Gold Card does not change your obligations once you are in. You are taxed like any other permanent resident on worldwide income, not just what you earn inside the U.S. The big advantage Trump bragged about is not some secret new right. It is the removal of friction. Instead of waiting in backlogs that can run for a decade for applicants from India or China, you buy your way into a fast-track lane. Off to the side, the administration is selling an even more extreme product. The Platinum Card, that one is not designed to make you a U.S. resident. It is designed to give U.S. access without us tax. The pitch is simple: for a $15 DHS fee and a $5 million contribution. Once the card launches, a foreign national will be allowed to spend up to 270 days a year in the United States without being subject to his tax on non-U.S. income and without needing to juggle multiple visas. In other words, 3/4 of the year in America with your offshore income still sitting outside the IRS net. For a global billionaire with businesses scattered across continents, that is worth more than any lounge access perk on a normal Platinum Card. The sales pitch to the public is wrapped in patriotism. Trump tells his followers he has created a way for some tremendous people who otherwise wouldn't have been allowed to stay to bring their talent and money to the United States. Commerce officials talk about making sure the people who come are economically capable of driving our economy. Supporters call it common sense. Why force a superstar AI engineer or cancer researcher to sit in a visa lottery when their employer is willing to put 7 figures on the table for them to stay? Compared to the old EBB-5 investor visa, which asked you to put capital into specific projects and prove job creation. This model is cleaner for the government. The cash goes straight to the Treasury. The risk of bad investments is on the applicant, not on immigration. The criticism is just as blunt. Immigration lawyers and human rights groups call the gold card one of the clearest examples yet of a 2D tier system, a narrow, expensive highway for the rich, and a crowded, underfunded road for everyone else. They warn that tying residency directly to giant gifts invites money laundering and corruption. Dirty money becomes clean, attached to a legal U.S. green card instead of a hidden account. That is why the executive order that created the program emphasizes source IFA funds checks, and why serious practitioners tell clients to expect deep questions about where the $1 million came from. They also see a risk to the rule of law. When officials openly advertise that you can buy a card to keep a graduate who would otherwise have to leave, it confirms what many people suspected. The line is not just long, it is optional for people with the right banker. There's another danger most applicants will not think about in the excitement. The gold card is revocable. The same executive order and fact sheets that describe the benefits also make it clear if national security concerns appear, if there is serious crime. If there is fraud in the application, the government can cancel the status. The $1 million gift does not come back, the card can. If you are a genuine professional with clean funds and a long-term plan, that may not worry you. If you are looking at this as a quick escape hatch from legal or political trouble at home, you are wiring a very expensive donation to a country that can still show you the door. For companies, the gold card is a test of how much they really value invaluable talent. A $2 million contribution plus fees for one key engineer or researcher is not small change, even for a major tech firm. The question every CFO will quietly ask is simple: who inside this building is worth that check? For countries competing with the U.S. for talent. The message is also clear. If you want to keep your best people, you are now competing not only with American salaries and universities, but with an American state that is willing to sell them an express immigration package. The gold card does not replace the old immigration story. It sits next to it and exposes it. On one side of the counter, there is still a clerk telling people to take a number and wait years. On the other side, there is now a screen that says, apply now, U.S. residency in record time, followed by a box for 15, $0 in wiring instructions for 1 million more. The policy debate will continue in Congress, in courts, and on television. But from an investment point of view, the signal has already been sent. One of the world's most powerful governments has decided that residency and tax access are products that can be priced, packaged, and sold. Once a state takes that step, it very rarely walks back down.